specifically for you all to be here because our illustrious guest, who I'll talk about in a minute, did a semester abroad her junior year. So that is still something that's available for you, or not abroad, but away. She was still in the United States. But it was an incredible opportunity, an incredible experience, and it was something that I wanted you all to hear. Oftentimes we talk about, folks who have won an award or folks who have won a championship, but we never really get to see the process that they've gone through to get to that end goal. And so this experience that our guest here went through is something that I want you to kind of listen about, learn about, ask any questions after the program is over. And it's just something I think we should all hear as a community about some of the things we're doing that's kind of extraordinary. So our guest today is Rose Esselstyn. She did a semester abroad last year at the Maine Coast Semester School at Chewonki. So we're going to have this conversation, this dialogue in front of you so you can hear a little bit about it. I brought you some water in case you need. Can you just explain for us a little bit what a semester school is, what you kind of experienced and things of that nature?
Yeah, so you said a good amount of it, but it's basically an option. Like it's another choice. It's kind of a way to stray from kind of the path that I think we all set on when we go into high school. Mm-hmm. They're all over the country, and I mean, there's one in Switzerland. They're really kind of all over. Some of you guys may have heard of the Island School. It's in the Bahamas.
Mr. Allerton.
Yeah.
Miss Lynn.
There's like the Mountain School, HMI. I mean, they're all over, and they all offer very different things. But something they all have similar or in common is that they, they offer this way, kind of, to get a breath of fresh air, to kind of take a semester and do something so different and out of the ordinary, and kind of stray from the pack. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, being, sharing your experience with us. One of the things that, in talking to you that I was kind of fascinated by was how you came to this decision to leave. Like what impacted you on the way to make this huge decision?
I mean, junior year is notoriously really hard.
Yeah.
I think so. I think I was, to begin with, really nervous about junior year, but I wasn't planning on leaving for half of it. Sure. So the summer before my junior year, I left to go on a 3-week bike trip. And there was a boy on the trip who had just finished this semester at Chewonki. And the entire time he was just raving about how incredible it was, how cool it was to not have a phone for 5 months away from his sending school.
That sounds terrifying.
It was terrifying, but so wonderful. And so I think that is what clicked for me, was hearing that he didn't have a phone, and that just seemed so crazy but cool, and like,
right.
And it changed. And so I immediately went home in August and applied. And most kids had applied in February, so I was very late to the game.
Did you talk to your parents about all of this? Or,
I mean, I they had no part in the application process. I kind of just did it while they were at work,
Gotcha.
And then told them I was going. Basically, I was like, I'm going. And then they were so supportive, and I was off. So.
Yeah. Well, you shared with us a few pictures.
Yeah.
From your journey, and I kind of wanted to take a moment to acknowledge those pictures. What's happening here?
So these are some kids from the semester. There were 41 of us, and we all lived in cabins. We worked on a farm, so it was all very outside. And so this is a picture of every Friday and Saturday night there would be different activities. And so I believe this was a Saturday night activity where, I forget the exact assignment, but it was like a costume party or something. And of course we had like only what we brought for this semester school, which was like trash bags and absurd hats. So this is just one of the activities that we did, because you're at boarding school, and so your weekends, you're still with the same kids, you kind of decide what you guys do. So that was just one of the nights.
And what's the environment like? What's the setup? How long are you there?
So I left in January, and then I came back in May. So it's like 4.5 months. And it's 400 acres. You're along the Maine coast in a very woodsy, kind of isolated Maine area. It's freezing cold because I left in January, and Maine winters are very, very cold.
Sure.
And there are 41 of us, and then 20 teachers, and everyone lives together basically. You know, it's co-ed. You're divided into there are 8 cabins, and the teachers are there. Everyone's just together. It's a real community.
And so are you working on a farm? Are you what's the typical day look like?
Yeah. So here you can kind of see one of the farmhouses behind. That was classrooms. That's where a teacher lived. And then there's a big dining hall and classrooms. It's a very normal setup. But then you're just like surrounded by 400 acres of woods. And so every morning we'd wake up and, we'd go to morning gather, and there would be a speaker of the day. So every day would change. We'd then go to chores. So, you'd be cleaning the toilets with the head of school. You would be.
The head of school's cleaning them with you?
Oh, because she lives on campus too. So, everyone's doing everything together. You're doing the dishes with your advisor, and you're mopping the floors with your Spanish teacher, and you're weaving, you're chopping wood, you're working on the farm. There's a huge farm, mucking out stalls at 6 in the morning, so
if you've never done these things before, how do you just
do it? Yeah.
Right.
I think it doesn't take any, I'm not stronger or braver than anyone else in this room. It's just that I think I was willing to roll up my sleeves and dig in a way that I wasn't really asked to do at home.
Right.
And if you look around, it's like 40 other kids your age in the same boat as you are doing the exact same thing. And they're singing and dancing and so happy while they're doing it. And so why would why wouldn't you do it too?
Now, is that always the case that you're singing and dancing
at
the same time? I'm about to say the same time.
No, mucking the stalls at 6:30 a.m. It's hard to keep a smile for all that time, for 5 months. And so there definitely were hard moments of just, I want to be in a heated room at home learning out of textbooks.
Right.
And that was not the case ever.
But you took the risk. And
yes,
one of the things that we talk about here, you took that risk and you leaned into that discomfort.
It's so about leaning in, and it's so rewarding, I think, because you get so much out of it, and you learn so much about yourself in that process.
Right. Now, tell me about favorite moments, things that.
So here's a picture.
This looks crazy to me.
Yeah, this was in the middle of January. Every Saturday morning, we're on the Maine coast, so obviously there's a waterfront. And every Saturday morning we'd all go out and jump into the water, which was very cool. Our teachers would do it, everyone would do it. So I think that was by far one of my favorite times, most painful times, but I think also the moments that you would completely lose yourself. And I'm someone who's so conscious about my surroundings and how everything's looking, and I think the moments that you're really digging in deep and you look ridiculous and you haven't showered in 7 days, and you've lost yourself. You've lost that sense of self-consciousness, which I thought was so cool and so kind of such a unique feeling. So the moments that I kind of forgot, I think.
So that's a moment that I've never experienced, right? I've never experienced that losing myself, not worrying about others' perception or kind of having access to technology. And so when you're in that moment, how do you describe that? Do you reflect on that? Is that still with you?
Mm-hmm. It's a cool feeling. I think, unfortunately, I'm someone, I haven't lost my self-consciousness, and I came back and still reach for the phone and still think about all those things, but I think I'm just coming back with as long as you're willing to put the phone away, willing to roll up your sleeves, you're gonna lose you dig in and you lean in, as you just said. You're gonna lose you have to.
Right.
And if you're surrounding yourself with people who are excited and willing to do the same thing, then I think inevitably you're going
Well, I think that's a big deal, right? Your community, the people who are there, they're all doing it together, so it doesn't seem
so scary.
So scary and so cool.
Yeah.
What are the toughest ones? Tell me the hardest things.
Well, as you can see here, you finish a day of classes and then go out and chop wood or stack wood or, be fixing pipes and stuff and freezing cold, and sometimes that was really hard, but everyone's doing it together. So those moments where I think could be really hard, but as we've said, you don't have a phone, and phones provide this wonderful feeling of like safety because you're hidden in a way, and if you have a problem with someone, you can just type it to them,
Right.
and you're protected. Whereas here, it's like you don't have that shield, which is really, really, really scary, but so wonderful, I think, because then you're forced to feel everything so completely and totally in a way that I never had. And so everything I think I felt was like escalated, or like times 10. So the moments or the times when I had a problem with someone or a problem with the teacher, and you just have to walk up to them, those were really hard because I just wasn't used to it. But by the end of it, you're just so comfortable and capable.
Now, I imagine, to take a step back a little bit, you talked about the fact that there were times where you just wanted to be able to kind of look in a textbook.
Oh my God, yeah.
What were classes like? I mean, were you sitting in a classroom the entire time?
So I took 5 classes like you guys all do now, but it's not like you're memorizing formulas. It's not like you're learning out of a book at all. It's more like, in science class, for instance, every week we were tested on bird calls and to memorize the types of trees. So everything just felt so relevant. And like, I'm gonna pass this tree every single day for the next 5 months, so I'm gonna, I want to know it. I'm gonna be out in the woods alone for a long time, so I wanna know every noise I hear. In English class, it wasn't so much analyzing different books, but rather, like, what is our role in nature? How do we affect it? I mean, yeah, it was very centered towards our impact, our effect on nature, on the world around us, and our role in that. Spanish, it was like learning about sustainability in Spanish and how to have, it was very conversational. No one was correcting you, everyone just said, like, just talk, I'm not gonna interrupt you once, just go, don't worry about being wrong, just commit.
And what did that feel like? I mean, because
I felt more confident than I ever have in my entire life.
Right.
I mean, in Spanish, if we're talking about Spanish directly, I think not being interrupted constantly, not worrying if you have the wrong conjugation. It's like you just go and go and go and go, and everyone else is making mistakes but doesn't know it. So, yeah, no, it was cool.
Right, so you're not preparing for some big test necessarily. It's really about your connection with nature and understanding your impact and your surroundings. And so you talked about being in the woods for a long time. Were you the solo idea? What's this?
So a part of the deal is that when you leave to go to the Chewonki semester school, you have to do a 50-hour solo in the woods. So you have to go out into the woods for 50 hours.
So can I just backtrack?
Yes.
50 hours? That's more than 2 days?
Well, some people could do 40. It's like by the second day you could really go in whenever. I loved it so much that I stayed out until like the last possible minute.
You're outside.
You're in the middle of the woods, and it's 400 acres, and there are 41 of us, so everyone has you don't see anyone or hear anyone for 50, in my case, 50 hours.
So are you living in a cabin? Where do you?
There's no cabin. They send you out with a tarp, sleeping bag. They give you some food.
What kind of food do they give you?
So I think it was like 2 apples, a bag of gorp, a jar of sun butter, a sleeve of Ritz crackers, like really random food.
Right.
But you're really just sitting, and so you're not very hungry. But it's cool. It's like the first time I was ever assigned to just like be, just like sit and think, and just be there. You're not supposed to be doing anything else, which was like the first time ever in my entire life.
Now, a lot of the Form 3 students here, a lot of the freshmen have been in the VQV class talking about like mindfulness and things of that nature. So I imagine being out alone for 50 hours, you really begin to kind of reflect, think about who you are, think about nature.
Yeah, I mean, as much as you are reflecting, you're like paranoid the entire time because like there are porcupines everywhere, and like noises are everywhere, and animals are everywhere, and there you are alone. So as much as I would like to say, I spent the entire time like calm and like collected.
That was the case?
No, not always. You're panicking for some of it, for sure, but it's about like how you get through that panic and how you get through, at nighttime, and you're alone. in the middle of the night in the woods. And so that's where mindfulness comes in, I think, because, you know, how do you get through that by yourself? And there's no one there to guide you through it. And so you have to figure it out, which was a huge, huge growing point, I think.
You know, we talk about our motto, you know, VQV, Wink It, He Said Wink It, being one conquers by conquering oneself. And it sounds like this is what this is. Like this experience really propelled you into that.
And being someone who's so anxious, I thought this entire 50 hours would be like worrying about choking on my food and dying alone, worrying about stop breathing, like throwing up, or, you know, something terrible happening.
Right.
And then I was like the most content I've ever been, ever, and loved it. Like, want to do it again. It was really,
So you would do it again?
Oh, yes. I mean, I'm not sure if it's the same.
Yeah, sure.
But it was really wonderful. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, has that impacted for you, you know, your thoughts about the future, or you know, things that you might want to do, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think
you're all grown up.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, people say like, oh, so you're gonna go into science, and no,
Right.
I'm not. But I think in a way it just changed. A girl came back from her trip and said something that I loved so much, was that when I was alone for that long, like, I became friends with myself. And I know, I was like, what? That's so, you nailed, wow. Because it's so true. It's exactly, you know, our motto. And so I think I realized my capability in that 50 hours. Like, I did that, I could do that, I am capable of doing that, and so much more.
Right.
And so I think it's affected my future in the way that, like, I came back to KO and was like, I'm going to start a garden,
That's right.
and it's going to happen.
You sure
and
did.
I'm going to keep pushing until that happens.
Let's talk about that a little bit. So Rose walks into my office and goes, she sends an email, and she says, you know, I'm thinking about starting a garden at KO. And I'm like, okay, so, you know, come on and let's talk about it. And when I say she was prepared, I mean to the letter. So this is what I was thinking. We could have these things, we could build these flats. And I was like, oh, okay, well, just go ahead and run with it. You might as well do it. So tell me why you want to start that garden. Why bring it back to KO? Like, I speak for a number of folks when I say we're, you know, better off having that garden, being able to walk to it, taking our advising groups to it, impacting the foods we eat. And so, you know, explain that a little bit. Why bring that
I mean,
back?
as I said, I really found my best self in that environment of, like, technology-free, stress-free, calm, you know, like, you're in the real world, you're working with your hands. And so I wanted to bring a piece of that to KO, a place that, you know, we have to have our phones. Our world is molded around technology and our ability to use, you know, so it's like, I wanted to bring a piece of that serenity back to KO, where I knew it could use it, so.
You know, the reality of the situation is not everyone here is obviously going to do a semester away, right? But this piece that you spoke of in terms of liking yourself, realizing that, you know, who you are is really important. How do we bring that, how do we make that something that we cultivate as a community at KO? Because I think, you know, I've spoken about this idea of fitting in versus belonging, right? And fitting in meaning you have to lose pieces of yourself to be part of a community. And belonging means whoever you are, you'll be accepted. Not that you won't have, you know, disagreements or discourse, but we accept who you are, your full self, and you're allowed to be your full self here. But I think you have to like yourself first to be able to do that.
That's a huge part of it.
Right.
Is just being okay with yourself. And the reality is that, you know, it's like, this is a constant, life is a push and pull.
Absolutely.
Of, like, there's some days where you're going to feel really good and some days where you're just going to be really subconscious and say things you don't mean.
And that's okay.
Oh,
Do you
of
know what I
course,
mean?
it's high school.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's, I mean, yeah. But I think it is about just, like, if everyone's on the same page and everyone knows that, and it's not, you know, we're not going to be in sync ever. But I think as long as everyone knows that, then that's progress.
Yeah.
That has to be progress.
Absolutely. There's a couple of snapshots here.
Yeah, so that's just on the farm.
Yeah, right.
That's science field trip. So some days we'd be assigned to just, like, go out into the woods for 5 hours with our whole group, and part of that time would just be like, go sit on a rock and write about what you see once a week. And then by the end of it, you have this, like, compilation of thoughts and ideas of, like, how that, not only the nature and, like, the scene changed over that time, but also, like, how your thoughts changed through that time about that space.
Right.
And it's so cool, like, seeing how you see something different.
So in education, we call that metacognition, right? Thinking about your thinking, right? Understanding
Yeah,
how you think and shit.
So, yeah.
What about this here?
That's just our entire semester.
True.
That's the teachers and the kids. I think that was like one of the last days.
Did you all have a good time together?
Yeah, I mean it's hard being with the same group for that long.
Yeah, it is.
But I have never felt closer to a group of people or more trusted or more known than I have with them. So, and it's just this community that's gonna last forever.
Right. So now that you're 4 months out or so, and you were kind of reflecting on your experience, what are those key things that you would, I mean, as we've spoken about a little bit, what are some of those key things that you took away from you?
I think, as I said, the willingness to jump in and lean in and roll your sleeves up and get dirty and, just try and be silly and make a fool of yourself, which I struggle with every single day. I think another part of it was like trust. This community suffered a lot of blows. I mean, it's hard to just be your best self for that long, and so everyone made mistakes, everyone said things they didn't mean, but it was about how you kind of recovered from that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I realized that like trust is never completely broken. It can be dented, it can be smashed, but like it's never ever broken. It has to last forever because community lasts forever. So as long as so I think I took that back. I think I took my own realization of like what I could do, what I was capable of, what we are all capable of with our own hands, and the power in that. And just always be ready.
Well, thank you. So before we close out, I took these questions from, again, Inside the Actor Studio. So these questions originally came from a French series called Bouillon de Couture, which is hosted by Bernard Pivot. But they're better known as questions that James Lipton asks every guest at the end of Inside the Actor Studio show. So you haven't seen these questions. No. So this is just kind of, let's just see what you come up with, right? So, first question, what's your favorite word?
Oh gosh. Oh no.
You could all be thinking about this too. What's your favorite word?
I love the word. I love writing the letter G. Mm-hmm. So I think
I do too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't say that first. I think any word that starts with G I like because I like that capital. I have terrible handwriting, and that's like the one time that like it's like kind of good when I can do that like huge G. So I think any word that starts with G.
What's your least favorite word? Do you have
I really dislike the word, uddle words like puddle. I hate those words. I hate saying them out loud. So I don't know. I don't think.
So you don't even want to speak it.
I don't want to say it. Yeah.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally? Get you excited?
Creatively, I love. I really like organizing things. Yeah. So I think whenever I can like have some like be doing something and like see your progress, I really like that. I like colors. I think I like organizing things. Emotionally, I think I don't know, that's hard. I think humor.
Yeah.
I like humor a lot.
What turns you off?
Emotionally, I guess.
Or just in general, it doesn't have to be emotional.
Yeah, I think that when you get stuck, and you start getting in your own head and worrying,
sure.
Really, I think has always been a big block, and is such a bad feeling.
What sound or noise do you love?
I like. I think. That's hard.
Like for me, it's easy. It's my youngest son's laugh.
Oh. Okay, now mine's gonna sound so
No.
You know the Kit Kat commercials?
Oh yeah.
I could listen to those like all day long. I think. On repeat. I think I have. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
What sound or noise do you dislike?
Chewing. Sorry, Dad. I'm chewing just really gets me. Yeah.
This is a little bit out there. What profession would you like to attempt?
Oh gosh, that changes every single day.
Yeah.
I'd really like to be a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah. So.
What profession would you not like to do?
I would not like to be probably anything in a cubicle sounds hard and repetitive. So I don't think I'd want to do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God or the Creator, whoever it is, say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh my God.
Right? What a question that is.
What would I like them to say to me when I arrive? When I arrive. Oh gosh, I've literally never thought about this before.
You dive out.
Maybe just like you have arrived. Just like something just like general, kind of generic, but that probably just something in big letters.
Very cool.
Big letters. Capitals preferably. Yeah. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Your round of applause for Rose.